The Narsama Trilogy, Book 3, Three Men, Bound by Fate, Separated by Honor. Who will survive? So to know more that, I will invite Kevin and Kanashi on the stage. Yeah, thank you so much.
Good evening, namaskar, adab. How are we doing today? Yeah, are we good? पीछे तक आवाज जा रही है मेरी? Hello. Oh, itna subtle hi. What a lovely evening is this. All of us are here together, the book lovers, the people who love literature, who are passionate about it. We can't be that cold. Let's give us a bigger hi. Hi everybody. Ye hui na आवाज. Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to bits being here today at the Delhi Literature Festival. There's so many reasons for it. I get to meet this beautiful, beautiful community of Delhi Literature Festival, the amazing team. We all get to exchange notes after 1 year. So it's been quite a long wait for many of us. And also because I have an amazing, amazing author with me for conversation today, the brilliant, energetic, young, dynamic Kevin Missel.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much for writing such beautiful books over the period of years. How do I even begin? You started at the age of 14 as you know, every time it sounds like a cliche, but all of our conversations almost begin like this. 14 साल में कौन किताब लिखता है? पर आपने लिख दी. Yeah? And surprisingly, after graduating from St. Stephen's and committing to full-time writing, you chose a genre which is yet very difficult to understand, comprehend, let alone to write books on it. For somebody who has been a go-getter, who is the new age kid, who belongs to the team of millennials, choosing a genre like mythology, I mean, why? Let's begin from there.
Am I audible? Everyone? Great. So first of all, thank you so much for the Delhi Lit Fest to actually invite me, and I'm very, very glad that you're my moderator. It's always been a very fun and interactive. Whenever we meet, it's always been very positive and happy. So, we are finally on stage. Though I think, have we been earlier as well? Or
we have been part of so many festivals together.
Yeah, but never
either
together.
As panelist or as audience or as a speaker and an interviewer. So it's been happening. We know a lot about each other. So आज का जो conversation है वो actually coffee table conversation होने वाला है.
So the idea is as simple as we don't want to make it like a very boring session. It's a very conversational thing. So if anyone has any questions, also would love to answer it as well if there's anything, right? So
absolutely.
So why did I start mythology when I'm a millennial, and millennials usually are not really interested in this kind of subject?
Yeah.
I think one of the major reason being the fact that I was always a lover of mythology of the world. So I used to read Greek mythology, I used to read about Norse mythology, Welsh mythology. So it was always very interesting to see, बाहर क्या हो रहा है. But हम वही problem है ना कि बाहर क्या हो रहा है, घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर वाला scene हो जाता है. So यहाँ पर इंडिया में क्या हो रहा है, we never cared about. So now, once I started growing up and seeing, reading more about Hindu mythology, the other great writers out there like Anna Neelakantan, Amish sir, everyone, So obviously there was a huge inspiration. I saw everyone else, so I was like, okay, probably I should also try it. And once I start reading it, I was absolutely just mystified and enamored by the entire concept, And that's just made me fall in love with it more and more. One of the basic things which I love about it is within Indian mythology is that it allows you to explore tradition, cultures and history all in one place. So that's what I think.
It's actually like a कहानी की किताब.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
मगर एक बात बताइए. So we are switching to Hindustani and not sticking with typical English specific conversation because we are talking about Indian mythology. How can we not? तो एक बात बताइए. अक्सर ऐसा देखा जाता है कि अगर जो लोग ये जॉनर चुनते हैं वो इंटरनली ऑल्सो दे आर स्पिरिचुअल और दे कम फ्रॉम अ वेरी स्पिरिचुअल बैकग्राउंड. घर में जो बातचीत हो रही है, जो रोज़मर्रा की कॉन्वर्सेशन हो रहे हैं, दैट्स यूजुअली अराउंड रिलीजियस टेक्स्ट, बुक्स, स्पिरिचुअलिटी. आपके घर का भी वैसा ही माहौल था?
Definitely there's a lot of spirituality from my mother's side. She's a very, very religious woman. but I belong from a Christian family. So मेरा ये था कि बचपन से Jesus and I've read about the Christian entire mythology and just understanding what. So but I grew up being an agnostic myself. I believe there's a power. I don't know what that is. So that is what I believe in, and that allows me to also look at every mythology in a very objective spectrum. So because I'm not really, I would say emotionally linked to it, it allows me to actually explore it in a very different level, which I think personally, while others might feel कि यार ये तो कौन आ गया क्यों लिख रहा है हम पे and everything, is like what I love about mythology in general is the fact that it allows every spectrum of people to come together and talk about it and basically discuss about it. And as long as there is discussion and debate, I think that's what mythology allows us to do. And yeah, that's what's beautiful about it.
That's a very interesting fact that you've brought across. If you're too emotional about a subject, either you get completely immersed in it, or you're not able to, like you said, objectively look at it. So probably you being agnostic helped a lot. I'm a complete atheist. So when people ask me, why do you read mythology? You're an atheist. I said, for the love of storytelling. There are characters, there's strength, there's all sort of values that you can think of. You get it there. It's a very beautiful and strong form of storytelling. Now, coming to your legendary books. Kalki did wonderfully well. It sold more than 100,000 copies within an year. I mean, both book 1 and book 2. Then you wrote Sindbad, you wrote Durga, you wrote Yam. And then finally, coming to the trilogy of Narsimha and Hiranyakashyap, and now Prahlad. 3 important characters from Indian mythology. Who is your favorite? I know it's a difficult question, especially having written 3 books on each of them. But still, who's your favorite out of the 3?
I'm torn. I mean, I love all of them. It's like choosing your own, child. I guess I love all my books in terms
Typical
of.
Typical diplomatic answer. Let's skip this and please let us know who and why.
I think Prahlad is someone I feel काफी close, because I think Prahlad is someone who goes through a crisis of faith. कुछ उसका issues आते हैं. He doesn't know what to follow. पापा कुछ और बोल रहे हैं. यहाँ पर कुछ और interesting लग रहा है. So I think that crisis of faith आज की generation में, especially even younger than us, even Gen Zs if you talk about, there's a lot of crisis of faith. And that's one of the major reasons I've written this trilogy, to basically address that crisis of faith. So वो बहुत ज़रूरी है to understand whether what do you want to follow and why do you want to follow. We are told what to follow, but we are not told why should it be followed. That why is the reason why मैंने ये किताबें लिखी. Plus, obviously, I urge the next generation to think about that why. Because एक होता है बस prescribe कर दिया कि ये आपका ही है, religion है. But what if you have to ask whether you're really close to it? या बस कर दिया because घर पे चल रहा है, घर पे sermons चल रहे हैं, कुछ और चल रहा है, तो मतलब that's why we are following it as well. That should not be the case. So if you believe in something, truly believe in it, rather than just believing it because मम्मी पापा बोल रहे हैं.
Prahlad, इस novel में comes to a point where he has to choose between his father and his set of values, the family values, and between doing what he feels is right and what should be done. From a common man's perspective these days, if you were Prahlad, would you have done the same thing?
I think what should be done and what is right is always a challenge. Morality का, ethics का बहुत बड़ा ये एक वो है कि क्या सही है क्या गलत है, and at the end right and wrong is very subjective again. जो आपको सही लगे वो शायद से मेरे को गलत लग रहा हो. That is the kind of thing. Though I personally feel that you stick to your beliefs, and what you believe in totally should go forward. Though definitely make sure that belief is connected to the collective consciousness of the society. ऐसा ना हो कि society कुछ और tangent पे चल रही है, आप कहीं और चल रहे हो. तो
But what if what you believe is in a way in contradiction with what the society believes in? Then what does one do?
I think break free and have a dance. I mean, have a ball with your thoughts.
Okay, tell me the role and significance of female protagonists in your novel, because obviously the entire trilogy is male-centric. What is the role of female protagonists?
I think my that was a big concern from all of my readers. कि यार तुम ये male पे लिखते हो, women का क्या है? That's why I wrote Durga. So that was one of the major reasons why Durga, because that was what I wanted to address, that I can write about, I also wanted to write about Mohini Avatar. So that's also very interesting avatar of Lord Vishnu, which I will be working on down the road, definitely. But I don't treat them as a female character or like female something, I treat them as a character. For me, it's like genderless kind of a thing. I believe that Joe role, if they're fitting it regardless of their gender, I treat them as a fully fleshed character, which have passions, which they're not just a romantic interest in my books.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah, they're not someone's wife or someone. They're not fitting to a particular, I would say, social strata. What they are doing is they are characters. Everyone has their own passions, dreams, hobbies, just like any other male character as well. So that is the major thing, And ये बहुत problem था when I started writing Kalki, which was back in 2017. जो भी किताबें पढ़ता था, all the women characters in most of the books out there, especially in Indian fiction, they had very strict prohibited roles. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to show, just that they are just characters. So that is what I went for, and hopefully, and it worked. Yeah.
So is it by chance that the characters you started reading happened to be male, or do you think that the female characters have been slightly underplayed in Indian mythology?
I think in general they have been, though in terms of when we look at mythology, it's not the case. But in terms of the interpretation of today's writers, I think काफी है. And I'm one of the major people who does that as well. And that's why I want to change. Yeah, definitely. So that's why I wrote Durga. That's why I will be writing Kali as well. And that's why I'll be also writing.
So you just spill the beans.
Yeah.
Is Kali already getting brewed?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of books are being brewed right now as of now. I'm writing on Ashwathama right now for a audiobook. So it says an audiobook original. So yeah.
So most of your books have gone into for Audible, right? So how has that journey been from books now to listening to your own stories?
Audible has been really kind to me. I mean, पता नहीं उनको अलग ही प्यार है मेरे से. Which I wrote, which is a good thing definitely, but it's always very interesting. I was just recently, me and my wife were literally listening recently because I've written a book called Vikram and Vital. So Vital ki आवाज सुनते हुए, and it's an original. So it was brilliant, and I just fell in love with it. Like, damn, did I write so well? Because when you're writing it, you are not that. मतलब तुमको पता नहीं चल रहा कि सही रहे हो या गलत लिख रहे हो. I leave it up to the readers. Let them decide.
I have actually come across, so many authors telling me this. So there's this one of the authors, Hindi authors that I was conversing with, and I read a narrative, a beautiful romantic narrative from one of her novels, and she was like, "ये मैंने लिखी है, कब कहाँ?"
That's true. That's what happens with me also.
Yeah. But कभी ऐसी टीस रह जाती है कि ऐसे तो नहीं लिखा था और ऐसे निकल के आ गया. वो टीस हुई है on the flip side?
No, never. I outline my books to the perfection. So when I'm outlining it, definitely helps it. Though it gets better only. When I'm writing it, when I outline it, obviously it's probably like around 7 out of 10. But by the time I finished it, it's probably around 9 out of 10. So I'm glad कि मतलब वो improve हो जाता है because you're in that flow.
Okay.
When
So like many of us here are not very conversant with the flow from a book to the audio book. Why don't you spill more light on it?
So I'm a humble writer. Unfortunately, मेरे को इतना knowledge है नहीं जितना मैं बता सकता हूँ उतना I can tell you. With Audible, the scene what happened was कि they just take the book, they create it into a screenplay kind of a thing, and then they make it into a straight up reading or an audio production. So it can be a straight up reading, which is basically someone is just reading your book, and one could be like a production with music and sounds and effects. So that's usually it's their call, how much the budget they have assigned to particularly to a particular book, and how obviously the popular the writer is. So the more popular the writer, obviously the better you will get the production values as well.
They do involve the author into the process of maybe audio selection or music selection, or if not music selection, at least the voice of the protagonist. Do they involve you until that moment?
No, definitely they do. Yeah, that's the idea. Though they always send me samples. As I said, Vikram Vital का भी मतलब Vital के 3-4 options हुए थे. We rejected it. Like ये नहीं होगा. Yeah. Because Vital I'm very close to because that has to be a creepy voice जो होना चाहिए. तो yeah, so definitely that they do give me that sense of authority, which I'm very happy कि वो देते थोड़ा सा privilege दे देते हैं. Otherwise, yeah.
And what about screen adaptations? Thinking about that?
No, so two of my books were definitely gone into screen adaptations. One is Yama, and another is Sinbad. So they are in that process. They have taken the rights. I don't know what will happen. You know, with Bollywood, we don't know what happens next.
Absolutely,
You know.
absolutely.
They also don't know what is happening next with them. So, so yeah.
Just tell me something. How much of research and hard work goes into reading the backstory of these characters? So if I were to ask you, how much of time did Prahalad take as far as research is concerned?
Oh, so I think it does take a lot of time in terms of you have to when I'm writing a series, mostly what I do is I research most of it in the beginning only, so that the 3 books just go in a flow. So it usually helps. But definitely you have to read a lot of books, you have to meet a lot of people, you have to understand what their psychology is, and you know, go to different towns, different cities, understand what उस town का क्या perspective है, same mythology को लेके. You know, I was in Hyderabad when I released my first book, Narsimha, so I was able to go there and understand their perspective as well, कि वहाँ आंध्रा में क्या वो है.
Okay.
So even with Durga also there was a lot of research in terms of Devi Mahatmya. I have to read a lot of other. मेरे को याद भी नहीं, अब तो इतना पढ़ लेते हो ना, eventually you start forgetting the sources that you are reading. So but yes, definitely I should have a list now whenever I carry at a talk. You just tell me कि देखो मैं पढ़ के बोल रहा हूँ.
And what is your methodology for research? So do you rely on secondary data or do you also talk to people?
No, the good thing about internet is definitely I'm able to access to a lot of documents already. That's really helped as a writer, no doubt about it. But definitely I talk to a lot of professors as well in terms of So for instance, I was writing a book on Krishna, and there was a Krishna specific professor who told me so many things which blew my mind apart.
Wow.
You know, and obviously I can't tell that because that's all in my book, which will be releasing in probably September, October, Janmashtami time pe it will release, and by Simon & Schuster only. So, but yeah, that it just blows your. So definitely, professors ho gaye, books ho gaye, secondary data ho gaya, going to places, you know. I don't actively also go to places. Like I was given an offer to by my mother-in-law only, Mathura chalo, Krishna के बारे में थोड़ा आपको 10 चीजें पता चलेगी and everything, you know. And I said कि अभी रुक जाओ, बहुत वो है, जब मैं लिखने बैठूंगा उसको, then probably I'll go around that time.
हाँ, so बाहर बाकी जगह ससुराल से मालदीव्स जाते हैं, आप मथुरा जाएंगे.
That's true, and I have no complaints. I love it. I would
Obviously,
the well of stories out there which I would love to just understand.
Absolutely, there's no doubt. The more you dig yourself deeper into it, the deeper it goes still. So yeah, it's so beautiful. Also, I wanted to ask you, what has your writing regime been? I mean, of course, we talk about the book. Ladies and gentlemen, this book is available right here. Please go and buy a Prahalad. There's Narsimha, there's Hiranyakashipu. So it's an entire trilogy, and it's beautiful. It's written in a very vivid and simple language. So you'd love it. And of course, Kevin's books is it's also on Audible. तो वो भी आप देख सकते हैं, पढ़ सकते हैं, सुन सकते हैं, उसका रस ले सकते हैं, आनंद ले सकते हैं उसका. That's one thing. Now coming to the author that Kevin is. Kev, tell me, what's your writing regime like? How do you do it? Do you write it with a pen and paper like typical writers? Yeah, you've switched directly to the laptop, voice to text. What's your method?
Voice to text sounds interesting. It's like the lazy writer in me is very excited. ये बोल के कोई लिख रहा है.
लेकिन कोई बोलता कुछ है और मैं छप
वो बड़ा इशू है.
Half the time you like go back and erase what you've spoken.
So I think I write the old-fashioned way, which is laptop. Old-fashioned, for me it's old-fashioned.
So okay. Some of us are much older. हमारे लिए old fashioned अभी भी pen और paper होता है. So he's pretty young. He's pretty much a cusp between.
So definitely I write with laptop only.
Okay.
Definitely though I outline my books on my pen and paper as well, because जो idea आता है वो हर चीज़ type नहीं कर सकते तुम. So I have to just write it on a pen and paper, throw it off, write it again. So that's usually the case. So but it's laptop. Right now it's a laptop.
And are you a night owl or a morning lark?
You know, before marriage I was a night owl. After marriage I'm a morning.
See, your beautiful wife she can't stop laughing at this. I think she has more stories to tell. We will catch up on this later after this conversation. Now we'll hear from Kevin.
So I used to be a night owl, but after marriage I'm a morning person now.
How did this happen?
You know, I'll tell you something, because night mein na, it's like first of all, I also, I have a company as well, so I have to work the entire day, and then night I have to plot it out. But usually when I'm writing, I usually write after I wake up, because it's like usually you're fresh. Night में you are mostly exhausted because I'm already doing a job, and then उसके बाद रात में फिर से बैठ के लिखना, तो it's pretty nerve-wracking for a writer. But yeah, in the morning I usually write. Which again, writing, when I say, it's typing. For me, writing has already happened in the outlining phase. My outlining happens at night.
Okay.
Yeah, because रात में वो owl जगता है, तो that happens. Yeah.
So conceptualize at night,
Yeah.
but put your words into it in the morning. Yeah,
put it
that's
in
how.
my words, yeah.
There could be another, entire podcast episode on how does an evening owl turn into a morning lark. I know it's so difficult. I've been trying it for years and years. It doesn't happen with me. But anyway.
Are you working on a book?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, so okay. So just to give a little insight about what you're working on. How far are you through?
So my manuscript is almost complete. It's a literary dark fiction. I am about to pitch it, but every time I go back to it, I feel like, अरे अभी तो ये कोई नहीं पढ़ेगा. इसको हटाओ, दोबारा करो. So I know this is.
I always believe, and I think I've even given my advice to my very good friend Saksham as well, who had been writing this book for almost 5 years. I've known him for the last 5 years as well, since he started writing, and I've always told him that perfection is the enemy of profitability.
I know. Thank you. I needed to hear this.
So definitely make sure an art can never be perfected.
I know.
I can go at my book so many times and I can make out so many mistakes.
Absolutely.
And it's very tough. It's very tough.
I really needed to hear this, Kev. So thank you. Okay, tell me. We'll come to the audience questions as well in about 5 minutes. Be ready with your question and answers. But there's so much more that you have to tell us. What about role of social media these days?
Social media is boring now.
Is
I
it?
think now it's boring. Now I think we are going into a realm which is more interesting. I mean, now we should explore more interesting stuff. I think वही घिसे पिटे वही apps को हम use कर रहे हैं. I was literally having a marketing crisis right now. Just during my Durga's book coming out, I'm like, what should we do different?
Okay.
Because I have done so many things which are same. वही Instagram पे reviews, वही Instagram पे ये, वही Facebook पे कुछ groups पे post कर दो, ad चला दो, AMS कर दो, lot of stuff. But something different, something which we can utilize, क्या कर सकते हैं, how do we incorporate AI into it, how do we incorporate AR, VR, because that's the next generation, where next realm that we need to conquer. So that is something I'm working on. That is something that my team at Hubbox is also working on, which is to basically understand what we can do in the next realm. Because ये तो हो गया, ये इस पे तो we are, in fact everyone has captured it. When I started at AMS, which is Amazon Marketing Services, was something just only I think me and Vineet Bajpai and 2-3 more authors were doing, to be honest. And few publishing houses, but on a very small scale. The budgets of the big publishing houses were very less, AMS पे. Now everyone has gotten hold of it. So bidding has gone crazy. So वो बहुत मुश्किल हो गया है. तो अब something वो saturation वो eventually वो आ जाएगा. Social media saturation आ जाएगा. Too many books का saturation आ जाएगा. So we have to now go the next realm. So that's what I'm exploring.
These are such strange times that we are living in. We clearly have demarcated 3 categories of writers. One who still do not believe in the power of social media, who still do not even choose to operate a handle on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or anywhere else. They say कि नहीं, हमें चेहरे को नहीं दिखाना है और हमारे जो हम लिख रहे हैं वो बताएगा हमारे लिए. Then there is another set of writers who are vociferously using social media. They do campaigns, they roll out reels, they do lots of live sessions and so much more. And then there's your generation of writers, your thought leaders of your style, who say कि नहीं, AI भी होना चाहिए उसमें तो और बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं.
So the surprising part is we are doing a lot of work in book covers with AI.
Oh, on book covers?
With book covers, yeah.
Okay.
So, and the book covers are coming out really good. I mean, our clients have been like, wow, this is very interesting. But obviously, it's not entirely of AI.
Give us an example.
So, example, वो तो दिखाना पड़ेगा ना आपको फिर वो तो.
But how is it different from a normal book cover?
It's different because it has a lot of textures which are not explored, which is in terms of ki, I think while you would require a designer, no doubt about it, the skeleton is based on the AI's ideas and everything.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, definitely you need a designer. Designers, again, I'm not against designers की job जानी चाहिए इसमें. My wife is a designer. I think she's gone gayab now. But yeah, but she's a designer as well. But yeah, so that's but it has created that. So we are using those now next generation tools to actually get that outcome for and giving the best possible solution to the clients.
Okay, two quick things. One, once you've completed the book, you've pitched it. What do you think is the role of editing in it? Because I have come across many authors who say कि editing तो एक बार में एक draft में नहीं होता है. Sometimes you've written the book once, but you edit it almost thrice, 4 times. There are people who do it even 11 and 12 times. So what's your approach to it?
I think writers should never be their own editor. I think you should definitely rewrite it if you feel that rewriting should be there.
Okay.
But the editing, you should not edit your own books in terms of you should get an objective opinion because subjectively वो नहीं आ पाता. You're not able to do justice to that book of yours as well. So that is something that I personally believe in. Rewriting definitely you should do. I have done rewriting in the past as well. There have been times I've written 60,000 words of books and I just scraped it off. And 70,000 words of books, I've scraped it off. I've just kept it in my, I don't even use it. So definitely rewriting is very, very, I think important because you should nail what you set out to do, the vision. So as a writer, you need to have a vision, right? कि वो इसको achieve करना है मुझे by the end of the book. वो अगर आपका achieve हो गया, बात की छोटी-मोटी चीजें, prose ठीक करना, characters को थोड़ा सा arc सही करना, I think that can all work out in the editing front with the editor only. And there are some amazing editors out here as well. So yeah.
And what about promotion of the book? These days, publishers, leave a lot of it to the authors to promote their own books. So, what do you think of it?
I think promotion is one thing that definitely we should author. Again, the way I say there are two schools of thoughts. One school of thought is कि the author thinks that सब कुछ publisher संभाल लेगा. हाँ. एक school of thought है कि वो author को पहले ही पता होता है नहीं संभालेगा. So these are the two schools of thought. Definitely you should focus on. It totally depends on what kind of a beast you are as a person. So if you are a very gungo person, जो मतलब लगने वाला है कि मतलब सबको छोड़ छाड़ के मैं खुद ही करूँगा सब कुछ. Definitely then you should go for the second school of thought. So promotion definitely is important because you have written something good. You should let it out as much as possible. It's like holding a, I think speaker phone क्या बोलते हैं उसको? हाँ, चिल्ला के माइक ले गो. मैं चिल्ला के तुम बोल रहे हो मेरी किताब अच्छी है. But doing it in a very smart and a very tactile way rather than just saying कि अच्छी किताब है. So that is something what promotion, yeah, definitely it's very important.
And I've also come across, many people many authors telling us कि author को एक time के बाद बेशर्म हो जाना चाहिए अपनी किताब को पहुंचाने के लिए. अगर ज़रूरत पड़े तो वो हेजिटेशन का पर्दा खोल दो, आगे निकलो वहाँ से. Again, your thoughts on it?
No, I think बेशरम तो मतलब हम सभी है. मतलब in terms of every author is a बेशरम in some way or the other. I think I might, but yeah, definitely. I think it's very, very important. Again, totally depends on what kind of a person you are. But what I've seen, especially whoever the successful authors, who are professional authors, who are making money out of this, are those who are out there.
Okay.
Against the people who are not. So definitely. Again, I'm talking about commercial fiction right now, not literary. Since you have written literary, so I cannot. This advice might not work on you. But yeah, definitely for commercial, I'm saying yeah.
Tell us about your company, the Hubbox.
I think we started out as a marketing agency. Now we were a digital marketing agency in the beginning, but now we are going more into technology. We're trying to understand more into. We've gone into also publishing as well. We have also gone into a lot of different realms as well. We are working on a lot of good, interesting platforms for authors. We are also in a process to actually, acquire an interesting reader app as well. Okay. So again, the idea is technology, tech. Marketing भी है तो वो tech connected कैसे है वो that's important.
So this is very interesting.
It's digitizing at the end of the day. While at the same time we don't lose the essence of bookstores. Definitely, it has to be a balance. It can't just be totally tech and then forget the ground. You can't be just flying also. So it has to be the right balance where you're able to also push it for the bookstores as well. But using data by using right data to actually get to the right bookstores. Because usually क्या होता है कि आपने probably डाल दी अजमेर में किताबें, but शायद से वो अजमेर में नहीं चलने वाली, वो आपकी केरला में चलेगी. Just giving an example. So you guys need to also make sure that bookstore में marketing कैसे करेंगे तो data को use करके you can figure it out. One of the most important questions that I ask my publishers as well is that कि मेरी किताब कहाँ बिकी?
Wow.
That's important because you need to understand where did it sell?
Yeah.
Who bought it? What is the target audience? So वो अगर वो हमने capture कर लिया ना, which we are working on right now, so it will be very easy to do promotion in bookstores because we know where to put in them.
So you do have analytics of all of your books. Age group क्या है, gender क्या है, which places.
हवा में है अभी. We are working on it. वही है.
But you yeah.
But we want to do that. You know, that's the major.
the
That's the
next
vision. That's the vision. You know, that we are building that platform where the writers can know where my book sold, why it sold, what it sold. That's the entire concept. If they get that analytics, they'll be able to spend their money or spend the publisher's money to write in a more meaningful way.
Very amazing. Very amazing. Also tell us something that, you know, do you ever plan to switch your genre and move from mythology to writing something else? Mainstream.
I think I always wanted to write. I think literary. I always wanted to write literary. Yeah, I had very interesting ideas to it as well. But yeah, I've not. I've written thriller. I've written crime. Yama was a crime thriller. But no, I've never. Whenever I try writing it, नहीं होता नहीं वो creative वो आता है कि नहीं मैं mythology थक गया हूँ. I want to go and write something else. But then idea वही जाता है तब भी. Execution वही जाती है. So you know, again, I'm that kind of a person who might get frustrated, but then I come back to the घर.
Yeah.
So वही.
Lovely. Very good for us. Okay, we are open to question and answers from the audience. Yes, yes, sir. Also, let us know your name. Could we get a mic for Amit, please? Is it possible? You can take this one, please.
Hi. Kevin, I've read a couple of your books and they're very engrossing.
Thank you.
And I also see that there are a few more authors who are going into the mythology realm. When I look at the covers of your books, they remind me of Amar Chitrakatha. And then, you know, yeah, and that's why it's good. And then suddenly I realize, why don't I see movies? When are the movies going to happen? It's already there. The script is already there.
You know, the unfortunate part is Bollywood or, you know, any word out there, they have a very fixed budget constraints about there. So whatever conversations I've had with producers and with studios or whatever, budget says one thing. First is to acquire the book is, chalo, fir bhi it's doable. But then to make that, that's a huge, oh. So budget is a huge thing, not the story.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Amit. Yes.
Kevin, this is in continuation to what he said. I know budget is a big constraint, but what is happening, we also seeing is that today everybody with a mobile in their hand has become a filmmaker. And that's such a beautiful thing because you all create the stories which they bring out. So what do you think that from the current generation, I mean, we are still the Amar Chitrakatha ones, but with them, how do they actually relate these mythology and put them in their reels?
No, that's a very interesting idea. I think you just gave me a marketing idea, by the way. You know, the fact that we should do something like that. That's interesting. Yeah. No, I think definitely that's the case. I mean, I've gotten a lot of young readers who approach me saying कि आपके ऊपर आपकी book पे मैंने movie बनानी है. I'm got so inspired of it. ऐसे पक्का बनाओ पर non for profit होनी चाहिए. Because I will give my rights for free, but to be used for non for profit, because that is something that's very important. So they're like, fine, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So yeah.
Thank you.
आपका mic चल नहीं रहा ना?
So,
Yes.
so Kevin, I remember you chalking out the idea for Prahlad.
Could we have your name, sir?
Bijit Sinha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
So, I remember you chalking out the entire idea for Prahlad back in 2018, right? And this being the second conclusion to your trilogy, the other being Kalki 3. Can you tell us exactly how this was different from Kalki 3? Because again, this is the conclusion, the definitive conclusion, right?
So just so you know, Bijit is was the editor of Narsimha, as well as I believe Hiranyakashyap as well. You were my first editor. He has I've always sent him books to get edited. Now my publishers do it, most of it, so I don't have to give it to him. But but definitely, I think how it is different is the fact that it's angrier, it's bloodier, it's more violent, as well as it has more structure to it compared to what Kalki was. And Kalki was a little bit more on a PG-13. While it is a PG-13 as well, it is a more on a very little bit edgier look to it. So yeah.
Hi, Kevin. It's Marine. For someone like you who's popular on Audible, I wanted to ask you. So, how do you think? Do you think audiobooks offer the same semantic processing as a print book? Do you see the pros and cons of each, and what is your favorite personal favorite, if any, either of the two?
In terms of print as well as
And audiobooks. Yes.
audiobooks. So which
Yeah.
one is my favorite? I mean, obviously it's going to be books. When someone asked me when ebooks famous ho rahe the, they asked me ebooks or print books, and I'm like print books. Always the case. Though definitely audio is an interesting alternative that one should explore for someone who I have seen a lot of non-readers get to audiobooks because it's easier for them to actually listen rather than to read, because a lot of people don't have that, वो कंसंट्रेशन नहीं कर पाते या टाइम नहीं होता है 10 चीज़ें होती है सो ऑडियो बुक्स डेफिनेटली इज़ अ वेरी गुड ऑल्टरनेटिव बट आई वोंट से इट्स गोना टेक ओवर द प्रिंट बिकॉज आई थिंक प्रिंट के साथ हमारी हाराहारी चलती है ever since print books has become, and it's been, I don't know how many years it's been, print books have been in existence. Everyone has said कि TV आएगा तो वो print हटा देगा, cinemas आएगी तो print हटा देगा, radio आया print हटा देगा, अब e-books आया तो print हटा देगा. Print every time it it goes for a while down but then it picks up again. अब OTT बोल रहे हैं, OTT आ गया तो print चले गया, because lot of mind sharing and lot of वो content consumption बहुत हो रहा है. So definitely again it's going to go down, but then again it's going to pick up. So I believe audiobook as well as print, they will work together, and I think that's how it should be, because in books one should not have a limitation कौन सा क्या अच्छा करेगा. It should be all working in good tandem.
With each other. Thank you.
Hi, Kevin. Welcome back. I just wanted to ask you. You were talking about the marketing aspect. So how do you reconcile? One side, on the one hand you're a creative person, and then you market. Then you just you can almost switching over. Then you look at the marketing aspect. So how do you reconcile both the things?
I think I would give thanks to my team for this, because वो मेरा सर खा जाती है अगर मैं ज़्यादा मैं creative हो जाऊँ, storytelling में चले जाऊँ, So I usually initially it was more creative, more storytelling focused, but now it's become more, I would say, I have to open my practical side as well and see ki, I have to find that balance where I'm able to scale, but at the same time able to also be close to my creative aspect as well.
So the next question, which follows, is do you at times feel that your creativity, is some way, it has to take a back seat when it comes to marketing? Do you ever limit your does it ever curb your creativity or what you want to put across?
That's a very good question. I think I believe that initially it was, but now I've gotten used to it, because the thing is, one has to be very, very clear about one thing, that is that you have to find that balance, and they have to kind of वो mental वो हटाना पड़ेगा block कि मैं, and keep it separate. Those two lives are very separate. As an entrepreneur, I'm a very different man. As an author, I'm a very different person altogether. As an author, I'm the most insecure person you'll ever meet. Because as authors, we are very vulnerable, right? I mean, that's how we are. We don't like to show our scripts to anyone. I don't know how many times you have shown your script as well, right? See, that's the thing. But as an entrepreneur, my entire objective is to basically push for the next digitization, push for something which is interesting, which is different, which is more tech-driven, rather than going back to those basics and getting very boring aspects of the marketing. Yeah.
So Kevin, one question from me. So when you sell your books, you must be getting statistics, right? what is the percentage that children are reading your books?
वो स्टैटिस्टिक्स नहीं होते, किसने बोला?
What
वो
is that?
स्टैटिस्टिक्स मिलता ही नहीं है.
So you don't come to know that what is
We
the
don't
audience,
get
which
to
kind of
know.
audience is reading your book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is no software or nothing out there which is basically telling you कौन खरीद रहा है, कौन सा एज ग्रुप खरीद रहा है, कौन सा जेंडर खरीद रहा है, कुछ नहीं पता.
Don't you think this is a basic
This is a huge gap.
requirement?
I absolutely agree, and that's why we are working on it, something like that. You know, because it's very important. Like if there is a CRM that the bookstores are using, we'll be able to understand the bookstore जब log in कर रहा है वो सिर्फ stock डाल रहा है अपना. But अगर उसपे वाल डाल दे कि मतलब कि उसका age group क्या है, किसने खरीदी, क्या खरीदी, तो वो और comprehensive हो जाएगा data, and that data can be shared then and can be used for the social media as well or for some other activities as well. So yeah.
Because no matter how we try, to teach our children about mythology and all, still there is a big gap. आजकल की generation नहीं, उनको नहीं समझ आता who's Prahlad, who's Hiranyakashipu, for that matter, who's Ganesha also. They know Ganesha, but still there is a gap. So I think we should fill that gap.
So the only comprehensive data I got was that मेरी किताब का बिकी ये साउथ इंडिया में अच्छी बिकी है और बॉम्बे में अच्छी बिकी है. Like that's the most stats you'll get.
So in fact, picking up from where Kevin left, that's the difference between social media content that we consume and books that we read. One, that here when an author pens a book, you don't get the reaction instantaneously. What you get on social media. Social media पे कोई reel डाल दी, कोई story डाल दी, कोई post डाल दिया. Within seconds you come to know the audience reaction, which is also the fact when you storytell as a performer. However, when you write a book, it takes a hell lot of a time for the book to reach the market, to reach to the critics, and then you come to know how wonderfully good or terribly has it fared in the market. Second thing is, because you do not know the reaction, you also do not know the analytics. You don't know कि आपके content को कौन consume कर रहा है, बच्चे हैं, बड़े हैं, कौन से देश के हैं, कौन सी जगह के हैं, उनका taste क्या है, उनका gender क्या है. Unlike social media, जहाँ पर हर post के बारे में आपको analytics पता चलती है. Almost everything that you let out, you get to know who is responding in what manner. And the third is, for a writer, it's very difficult to fix the damage once it has been done and is out. Yeah. So now I think I can't see more hands. I think we have almost come to the wrap of the session. Could I have 5 minutes more with your permission? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. कहते हैं कि किसी इंसान को अगर जानना हो ना तो उसके साथ जल्दी से एक गेम खेलना चाहिए, एक फटाफट वाला. So we'll do a quick 2 to 3 minutes this and that round with Kevin, and then we get to know the beautiful person that he is. Can I have another mic, please? One of the volunteers had a mic. If you could pass it on to our favorite author. It's a very quick game. I promise I won't take much of your time. Are we ready for it? He needs some cheering. Otherwise, ये फिर diplomatic answers दे के निकल जाएंगे. Thank you. Kevin, quick. So the rules are this or that. Both is not an answer. Yeah?
Hello.
Don't know is also not an answer. The insecure author comes. Yeah? Okay. Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
And the wife is taking notes meanwhile.
Beaches.
Vanilla or strawberry?
Strawberry.
Poetry or novel?
Novel.
Night or morning?
Morning.
Fiction, non-fiction?
Fiction.
Hero or anti-hero?
Hero.
Sob story, light humor.
Light humor.
Plans or surprises?
Planned surprises.
He cannot not be diplomatic. Emails or conversations?
Conversations, definitely.
Rich and famous. You're rich and unknown.
Rich and famous.
Coffee or tea?
Mummy ki chai.
Arey wah. Wine or beer?
It's very tough. One makes my heart go good, and one makes my stomach go big. So I think wine.
Wine,
That's what I'm choosing.
Yeah. Test the waters or dive in the deep end?
Test the waters.
See the future or change the past?
See the future.
Wow. City or countryside?
City.
This one especially for the wifey. Cooking or being cooked for?
I am very bad at cooking, so probably being cooked for.
All right. Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Instagram? Okay. Last two. A book you thought you wished you had written?
Wished I had written. Okay. I think none of the.
Oh, tick tick 5.
Okay, sorry.
Four.
I think Brandon Sanderson's book called Stormlight Archive, which is a way, I forgot the book of the name, but it's Stormlight Archive book 1.
Okay.
That is, I think, was really well written book. So I think, yeah.
Ah, nice. And the last one. A Bollywood song that defines you or your life.
जब भी देखा तुझको मेरा दिल दीवाना बोले ओले ओले ओले.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for a lovely conversation it was with Kevin Missal. His book is out there, also available on Amazon. It was an amazing conversation, Kevin. Thank you. And thank you to the Delhi Lit Fest team. Thank you so much.